Hey guys, Runer here, and welcome back to our series Professionally Unqualified, where we are trying each profession for 2 weeks at a time, see exactly how we feel about each one. So every 2 weeks we're going to be spinning a wheel to see what we get to play. Ready to see our 5th profession.
Excited. I think it's going to be NG.
You still think it's going to be NG?
I still think it's going to be NG.
Alright.
Alright.
So if we get chat's choice, you guys will have to, we'll do a poll in chat.
Yeah, I guess we'll do a poll. We'll make it so like no one can use extra channel points.
Yeah.
I think that'll be more fair.
Ooh, Guildmaster's thinking NG as well.
Ooh, okay, let's
You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Alright, I'm ready as well. Let's see what we get. Oh my god, Elementalist.
Oh no.
We are going to be running Elementalist for the next 2 weeks.
They couldn't have gave me a break.
And as you can tell, Embry was not super impressed with this role, but that's part of the fun with the challenge. So we were curious to see how she would end up feeling after 2 weeks of running Elementalist. But with that, let's take a look at Elementalist and its elite specs and kind of go through how we felt about it. Elementalist, or just Ellie if you prefer, is one of the 3 light armor users and one of the more controversial professions available. The reason I say this is because they are quite a high APM and they also have a bit of a lower health pool. This is not necessarily a bad thing though, having a higher skill ceiling just makes the profession feel more rewarding overall. They use the power of the elements to deal damage and support their allies. Ellies are limited to 1 weapon set during combat, but you can swap between 4 elements to make up for that. This does give you a lot of skills at your disposal at any given time. Being able to element swap is one of the most unique features for Ellie and gives you a lot of diversity because you can swap attunements depending on what you need. For example, if you need to heal up a bit, you can swap to water, get some healing skills off very quickly, and then back to fire for more DPS. Anyone who enjoys a more chaotic playstyle will like Ellie probably, and you'll get a lot of buttons that you can use on demand. As you heard in the start, Em was not super excited for Ellie because she was quite nervous about that chaotic playstyle, but she ended up actually really enjoying Elementalist, which kind of shocked everyone, including myself. Ellie currently has 3 elite specs: the Tempest, the Weaver, the Catalyst, and the Evoker is soon to come with the VOE. Just look at those little adorable familiars you get. How could you not love the Elementalist? But with that, I want to get into each elite spec separately and just general pros and cons we had while playing. For reference, we spent 2 weeks on Ellie playing all forms of PvE content from open world, fractals, convergence CMs, and everything in between. But in this particular case, we actually did play a bunch of world vs. world, so there may be some insight there as well. We'll do a quick recap on each elite spec and get into how we felt while playing. First up, we have Tempest. Tempest gives Ellies access to the Warhorn offhand and lets them shout at allies and enemies alike. You will also be able to overload each element by staying attuned to it long enough, which is actually a great mechanic for Ellie since it kind of incentivizes you to stay attuned a bit longer and slows down swapping elements a little bit. Tempest was the spec we found to be the most diverse. It ran super well as a healer lack DPS, power DPS, Condi DPS. It was just super fun to play and had a lot of AoE, and the biggest part was just how much boon coverage you kind of get with it. I played a bunch of the new Inferno Fire Tempest as well. It's a really good damage dealer without having to do super high APM. So that kind of gives Elementalist a bit more of a casual approach for new players or people just curious about Elementalist. Next up is Weaver. Weaver gives Ellie a main hand sword and also unlocks stance skills, but it also lets you weave together 2 elements when you switch attunements, so it gives you some pretty unique skills. Weaver is probably one of the highest APM specs in the game, so for players looking for a high skill ceiling, this might just be the spec for you. Weaver is played only as a DPS as it doesn't really have any boons it can give, but if you're looking for one of the more unique playstyles, you really get that when you play Weaver. Lastly is Catalyst. Catalyst was the latest elite spec added and gives Ellie's access to hammer and augmentation skills, as well as a new profession mechanic called Jade Spheres, which are just large AoEs that you can drop to create combo fields, give boons, and do damage. Catalyst can be brought as quick heals, quick DPS, or just as a DPS player as well. The Jade Spheres they bring offer a lot of utilities no matter which way you're playing, so you kind of can give a lot of combo fields and boons no matter what. That is quite unique and fun to play, as the Jade Sphere animations are really cool, one of the things that kind of draws me to the spec. But the augmentation skills are a bit more bland, as they have no real flashy effects at all. So how did we feel about Ellie during our time playing them? We were actually super surprised. We loved it. We kind of got sad when we had to switch. And we are currently playing them as our current mains right now. Tempest heals are amazing. Fire Ellie as a DPS was incredibly fun. There's a lot to love about Elementalist. I even wanted to get more into Weaver, but kind of ran out of time, so now I'm trying that now. Even Embry, who was terrified of playing Ellie,
They couldn't have gave me a break.
is now currently playing Elementalist as her main profession. He really wants to go back, and she's excited about Evoker, so that kind of says a lot about Elementalist. These pros are in no particular order, just things we noted while playing. Tempest was incredibly fun and extremely diverse. So Tempest quickly became our favorite spec for Ellie. It's extremely easy to provide a ton of boon coverage. The heals were great. Honestly, if someone is new to playing Elementalist, Tempest is a great place to start. You can fill almost any role except for quickness. It is also quite survivable, so people who are worried about that aspect of Elementalist will help you kind of ease into the role of playing Ellie. Ellie has incredibly beautiful skills. So Ellie has some of the best skill animations in the whole game. Controlling all 4 elements has such a power fantasy to it, and it just looks awesome doing it. Elementalist spear skills have to be the best looking skills in the game. Granted, they can be quite overwhelming in team fights though. Getting to control all the elements at once is amazing, but it also is super handy since you have a lot of skills at your disposal. If you feel like you need to heal yourself, just switch to water. If you want a bit more defensive skills, just switch to earth. It really gives you a good kit to play with, and once you learn how to rotate through the elements and learn the skills you need to use and when and why, you become really survivable. World vs. World felt really nice. This is a bit of a different positive than our usual videos, but we were playing Elementalist in World vs. World during the Rush event, and we just happened to love it. Elementalist felt great in World vs. World as a support running staff. I felt like I had good impact on team fights, and I was able to keep all of my teammates alive. Ellie actually is quite tanky. There's a joke in the Guild Wars 2 community regarding downstate being a part of Elementalist rotation, but overall we didn't get that feeling. Ellie felt great. It has a lot of survivability, but you do have to play safely at some times. Being able to switch to Earth added some barrier to yourself, go to water, heal yourself. It just didn't make you feel like you were struggling to stay alive. Fire Ellie, this is kind of a newer one because they added Inferno as a trait, but Fire Elementalist is extremely strong. It's a good rotation because it's quite easy to learn. This was such a good change for Ellie, it gave them a very good low intensity build, so it just made Ellie become a lot more new player friendly. We actually had a rather hard time coming up with a cons list for Ellie, but here's a quick list in no particular order. There's a very obvious weapon myth. One thing that was noticed for certain is weapons are just far superior in every way compared to their counterparts. It made builds lean a lot more towards one weapon or playstyle. For example, with Warhorn versus Focus. Warhorn just is leaps and bounds better than Focus. There's not a ton of reason to bring Focus overall when you can bring your Warhorn. Another example is Scepter versus Pistol. Scepter just flows significantly better, so outside niche situations where you want to bring Pistol, Scepter is just going to do a lot better overall. Visual effects. Em really wants to mention this one, but depending on what element you're attuned to, you have a slight visual effect around your wrist, but you can't turn it off. It's nothing major, but it may become a factor towards your fashion wars. There's a high learning curve. This one might be more tailored towards new players, but there is quite a high learning curve to Elementalists since they have so many skills. It comes across as quite overwhelming, especially the way some boons are provided. Like Quick, where you need to constantly switch between elements to make sure you drop your Jade Sphere, which could mean you quickly choose your skills before you drop, and then switch immediately to the next element. This will obviously lessen the more you play Elementalist, it just kind of comes in time. That is actually it for the cons list. We even had a hard time with that. We didn't think we would end up enjoying it as much as we did. So if you're a little apprehensive, you should definitely give Ellie a try. You saw M's reaction at the start.
They couldn't have gave me a break.
but now she is currently playing it as her main. But with all that said, I hope that gave you some insight into Elementalist and maybe made you want to check it out. Overall, Ellie is a ton of fun, it has a lot to offer to group content, and it may surprise you. As a heads up, we are ArenaNet partners, so if you're interested in picking up the newest expansion, Visions of Eternity, our link will be below, and we appreciate every one of you who supports us. We are running a new profession every 2 weeks, but we actually just wrapped up on our last one, so now we are currently playing Elementalist as our mains, and kind of going through with whatever we want to do. But if you want to come over and check us out, we can help you give some insight and answer any questions you may have with each of the professions.
Modrum Arrowhead. I hear Noctis eating.
Oh, he discovered his treats. He's crunching.
Let's see. Oh, look at him. Look
At that big oversized hoodie, huh, buddy?
Aren't you just the cutest little bean ever?
If you have anything you'd like to add, please feel free to leave a sub and comment down below. We do stream this all over on Twitch, so if you want to check us out, please feel free to head over there. But with that, we will catch you in the next video.
I guess that I was hoping I could break your